Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's a wonderful Saturday night. We're so excited to be here tonight. We got a great show for you. Before we kick things off, though, we have our 5-year podcast anniversary coming up July 5th. You don't want to miss it. If you're in the Austin, Texas area, we want all the Austin talent to hit us up 469-544-9022, 469-544-9022. Hit us up if you want to perform. We're excited to have you, okay? In the house with us tonight, though, we have a lovely duo, an international country music recording artist duo and music label, all of that in one. We have Bo Haas and Cindy Lou. Woo! Hey guys, how are you
Hi,
doing?
Millie.
Hi, it's
We're
so good to
great.
see
We're
you. Yes, now you guys are. Where are you currently located?
we're in Colville, Washington. We're about 45 miles from the Canadian border. We're about 4,000 feet up in the mountains in the middle of nowhere.
Oh wow, that sounds beautiful. Up in the mountains. Oh my goodness. So are you guys originally? You're not originally from Washington, of course, because we talked about that before we came on live. So tell us where you're originally from. Tell us a little bit about your high school alma mater, and give some shout outs if you like.
Well, the funny thing is, we were both born in New York, and then but we met in the Midwest. We're from Iowa and Nebraska, and so that's where we met. So high school alma mater, gee, I was in Northern California a bajillion years ago. And Cindy Lou did yours in Kansas and
No,
Nebraska?
I did mine in Nebraska. I
Nebraska.
went to high school in Nebraska. I went to grade school in Kansas.
Aw. That is amazing. So Bo, now is that really your name? Is that just your stage name?
Well, both, quite frankly, those are my initials. And
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Irish, so I have a name that's about a football field long. And so people just call me by my initials, Bo. And then I'm kind of extra medium in size. And so I always get called if there's some heavy object or a human forklift needed. It's like, hey, Hoss, get over here. And so it was real easy. Half the people called me Hoss, and half called me by my nickname Bo. And so when I fully decided to just start going by Bo Hoss as a
Okay.
stage name. Before that, I was just basically Mr. Nobody. I was always the front singer for different bands, but it was like, oh, you have a great singer, but they never asked like, what's his name?
I was listening to your music and stuff, and you guys, oh, you're amazing. I love what you're doing, and if I'm correct, correct me, Bo, if I'm wrong. Your musical career was influenced early on by your mother. Did I read that right?
Yeah, my mom sang for the boys overseas during World War II and sang with all the famous singers and really would have pursued a singing career back in the day. But she met my daddy, who was won the Congressional Medal of Honor in World War II. And so she married a war hero and had a bunch of kids, and I'm one of them. And so she literally would belly up to the piano with me inside. And my musical training started in the womb. And by 3 years old, I was singing in the pews of church. Um, and so I always say I was raised in between the pews.
Oh my goodness! And then when you started singing, okay, so your mom was a singer, of course. Did you come from a long line of singers, or was your mom was the only
Well,
singer?
I thought they were,
Mhm.
but my daddy was an Irish tenor, and my mother was an incredible contralto, and so I literally grew up listening to them do duets together, and it was like Jeanette McDonald and Eddie. Um, his name escapes me.
Arnold?
No, not Eddie
Oh.
Arnold. I like to sing Eddie Arnold. But anyways, this great couple that used to do the Indian love song, when I would follow you. They would sing these wonderful duets, and so I was influenced by that. And then, of course, Elvis Presley and the Beatles came along, and uh, pretty soon I was singing in a band.
Wow. Amen. The rest is kind of like history, right? So that was through high school when you were singing.
Yeah, I actually started in about sixth grade, singing, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and all those guys. And then I got hooked on Motown. And later on, when I was in the Navy, I was a Navy corpsman, but I was also singing in the Navy choir. And so me and the Navy band guys all hung out together, and we started our own band of all Navy guys in Long Beach, California. And we were called Ace of Spades, and we packed the house everywhere, doing rhythm and blues uh, and Motown mostly. But I mean, at the time, Pablo Cruz and Santana and War and all these crossover groups were there too. So I really think sometimes that I honed my skills singing Motown music. And then, of course, I sang with various rock and roll bands, Gutshot and Kinesis and Childhood's End. I was the front man for all those. Uh, and but I always loved to sing country, but I really didn't have a lot of backbone in it. And then Cindy Lou and I had been together, in the Midwest, and she played keys at a very young age, and then guitar at a very young age, and then uh, my some friends at my mother scolded me and told me that I was being selfish and I wasn't sharing my gift. And she said, "You can't have a room full of trophies. Nobody goes in and sees it, right? You got to share that."
Yeah,
And so she encouraged me to start singing again. So I started singing with a band called the Nashvilleys in Iowa, and an incredible band. And then Cindy Lou and I met as through a consulting business I was doing, of all things. And I started encouraging her to sing backup in my band. And then I pushed her forward and started making her be the front girl so I could take a break.
How long ago did you guys meet, you and Cindy Lou? How far do you go back again?
Well, we've been singing together for over a decade now.
Ooh,
So,
good.
and we really are joined at the hip, you know. I'm the brawn, she's the brain. Usually it works out pretty good that way.
Yeah, I read that. I read that
Yeah,
Cindy
she's
Lou
not
is
arguing, so she.
she's the brainchild.
I'm the techie.
Yeah, I know. And,
I
and
say
that's why.
everyone.
Go ahead.
He doesn't have the patience to sit at the computer and do all the stuff that needs to be done. So
I'm good at listening to it,
he is. He's real good at listening.
Yeah. Now,
but
Mo,
we're multi-genre.
multi-genre. That's what I was about to
Go
get
ahead,
at.
please.
You were telling me before we got started that you used to sing like some Frank Sinatra style. Uh, so how did you
Yeah,
transition from
I
all the
never
different?
did.
But you never did. Okay, go ahead.
It was a challenge that somebody gave to me, singing at a casino, and there was a band that played all those big band and swing songs, and one of the guys in that band said, "Hey, have you ever sung any Frank Sinatra?" And I thought, "Nope." And so I started doing a lot of those crooner songs from back in the 50s and early 60s. Rat Pack guys, all that stuff. Mel Torme, Dino, um, and I found them to be fascinating. And that my mother was right, I could sing ballads. And so I started crooning those things and donning the tuxedo. And you'd be surprised how many people love Frank Sinatra more than I did.
What do you? Yeah. Wow.
But
You
they,
just
they
knew
really
that.
that style of music. Yeah, so my friend Roland Jewett and I, who you probably, I don't know if you know Roland. Roland's been on over 150 TVs and movies. He's written movies. He's songwriter of the year award winner. He's amazing. Well, he and I did an album together called Croonin' and Swoonin' last year, and doing all those old tunes is a big hit. So we're going to do another one.
Mhm.
So yeah, we just sometimes I get to wear my hat and boots, and sometimes I have to wear the tuxedo. But whatever people want, if I'm able to sing, I'm not just a country singer. I'm a professional vocalist, And
Okay.
I don't do hip hop and rap because I got no background in it and it ain't right, right? But just about anything else, I'm willing to tackle anything.
Hey, you never know.
And
they got a thing now called country rap. So you just never know.
they do. They do. Cindy Lou, of course, is the queen of harmony, and she has a hidden Joan Jett rock and roll side to her I didn't know. And so she writes both those and ballads. Her albums are amazing, female compositions. Her album out right now is called "What Kind of Love Are You Writing About?" And that's up for album of the year.
All love
Okay.
songs.
Oh, love
Yeah.
songs. Oh, I love it. You guys do everything. Of course, you sing and write and produce your own songs, but you also have your own record label where you, of course, have artists signed to your label. Let's talk about that. Let's get into that. Now, how many artists do you have signed to your label again? You had shared that with me early on.
Well, it's funny because we just started the record label out of necessity because it seems like it was uh, you don't have ID, you can't get in the bar.
Oh,
People, a lot of distributors and or major players are like, well, do you have a label? And you're like, no, you know. And so it was born out of necessity that we said, yeah, we do need a label, but we trust very few people outside of ourselves as being already record producers and performing artists ourselves and recording artists. We work with over 50 artists worldwide right now. And
like,
about a half a dozen of them or so are quote unquote in our umbrella.
yeah.
We just had one today. Cindy, you should talk about this gal that
She was just a delight. And we mainly go after people that you can work with. If you're hard to work with, I'm just too old for that anymore.
we're busy.
I just don't. I,
Yeah.
and she came in with both her parents, and I
Mhm.
love the fact that her parents were supporting her. I had my grandparents were behind me 100% as I was growing up for my music, you know, and they got me into playing the keyboards. They got me my first guitar. Um, they were an amazing couple also, singing together all the time. They even had people. They didn't do like karaoke because they didn't have it back then, but um, they had people over from their church group and they would practice, and I'd get in there and all of a sudden I became part of that church group. So that's kind of where I got the
That's how they
harmony.
get you hooked in, Melody. What can you do for us? I mean, we do for you.
But my grandmother was amazing at harmony, and I guess that's where I learned it. And I can harmonize with anybody,
And
I-
has
and
on a lot of
have.
albums.
I would much rather harmonize than I would actually sing the melody because I love the sound of it. So,
So this artist comes in today, and she was referred to us by someone. He runs a karaoke thing, but he's a really good singer, and he's a really good musician himself. But the only way he can make a buck is to do karaoke at a club, right, and get paid. And I think he gets free beer. Who knows? Hope he gets ice cream. That's pretty good ice cream they got. So anyway, he referred us to her. He said, "Hey, this gal is a knockout. I've heard a lot of people, and he has." He said, "I think she's something special." And he said she just turned 14, and she came in and sang today, and you couldn't tell the difference between her and Patsy Cline or
she sang an Adele song.
an
that,
Adele song.
Yeah,
What was the other one? Blue by
Leanne Rimes.
Leanne Rimes. She did 3 songs, a demo here today, and she almost sounded. I don't know how much more we can improve her, and that's what we do all the time. Is we teach and mentor artists constantly, everywhere, even the ones that think they're good. No, they're not. They need help, and she is so close. She could be a superstar quickly.
Yeah.
So she's got 2 guy first names. Her name is Charlie Dickey.
Charlie
Like,
Dickey.
We're just
Okay.
gonna call her Charlie.
We'll have to get her on, when she starts performing and stuff, we'll have to get her to be on your show.
Very few
That's
people blow our mind. We listen to about 200 singers a year, and we like two or three of them.
Yeah, this gal's gonna go far.
Yeah.
She's pitch perfect.
Yeah, she knocked our socks
Pitch
off.
perfect.
So that's just part of that whole recording studio thing. Sometimes they just show up amazing.
So
Well,
as I was recording her, and then Bo was doing the business side of work, telling them what's involved and what you got to do and what you got to not do.
The process.
And they were all in on it. So she signed today under the label, and we'll be going forward with her.
that is so good. And that was going to be my next question. When it comes to the record label, what's the process of signing a new artist to your label? But you kind of answered it, and sort of, you sort of answered it. So
it is a step process. First thing we always do is it's an interview process where we just want to do a sound check and do a couple, 3 songs, couple slow, couple fast, whatever, mix them up. And we want to do something that they're familiar with, so they're not all shaky and scared. Practice, practice, practice until you're not afraid of it anymore. And then at the same time, we get a feel for who that person is. So that's kind of a 2-step process. I believe in MVP, the music, the voice, and the performance or the performer. If they're difficult to work with, I can tell you that I do never go to the store and buy the bottle that says instant headache on it. I don't buy that bottle.
right. Yeah.
So,
I don't blame
if they're hard to work with, we're busy.
Mhm.
We're really busy if they're hard to work with. And if they're really good to work with, we're all in. And so that's part of the process. And then we go from there to, we don't do a 3-song demo. We want them to do an album. And usually we want them to do an album of cover songs, so they're real comfortable being in the recording studio and going through that whole process of me beating them up being nice to them on the vocals, and helping them go mentoring through the process.
Mhm.
We have a saying here that if you don't command perfection, you receive mediocrity, and we can't do that. Everything that we produce has to be radio ready, and we've blown some bigwigs away from our little micro studio. They can't believe we do what we do here. So then we take that process and we say, okay, let's do an album and let's find original songs, because there is no legacy in singing cover songs.
Yeah.
Either you are Millie Mills or you're not Millie Mills. You're singing Millie Mills, right?
Right.
So you have to be an original in order for people to think you're unique and try to catch on. And then everything has changed. You and I were talking about technology. You flood the technology through audio and video, through marketing with other people. You get on the phone, you get on the internet, and you hook people up, and just start collaborating everywhere. And we found that people love to be a team.
Mhm.
They really do.
We love collaboration.
Yeah. We've done a couple of Broadway albums. Hey, do you sing Broadway, Millie?
No, I do not. I wish I
Well, we've done a couple of those albums. We're doing a third one.
I think she's a shoot.
Right, sign her up.
She's ready.
I'm ready.
So that's and then we just let courses run where they are. They got to learn in the independent market. We all wear all the hats, and so promotions and all those things. We teach those skills, and then we hand them the baton and say, okay, you're set and you're ready. So it works like a co-op where they get introduced to all the right people and all the right music, whether we have to write music for them or with them, whatever we have to do. When an artist comes on board, We believe that there's no success without a successor. So, what would be the greatest thing in the world to do is for us, is to say, yeah, I gave Stevie Wonder his first harmonica. Wouldn't that be? Wouldn't you feel so good inside later on? And you're like, oh my gosh, he made it, you know. And so that's how we feel about working with other artists.
Oh yeah.
And I'm this close, Millie, to doing remote recording so that I could call you up and say, are you ready to record, Millie? Here we go. And you
And I
can
can
be
do
in
it
your
right-
studio.
Yeah.
Mom.
Right there at home, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
We've actually been experimenting in Ireland, Netherlands, and Canada doing that already now. And so we're dialed up full fledged so that people don't have to travel to the studio. Although we have a great guest cabinet, people do travel to come here and stay. As you can see, there's instruments all over the whole place, and it's grab and play.
I think you had an interview with Wolf Milestone
Well,
recently.
Yeah, and
He'll be out
Speaking of-
for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, he'll be here the
Yeah.
11th through the 18th.
We're going to record for a week with him.
Yeah, he's going to come out and stay in the guest cabin and record music and enjoy the view. We have a postcard view. We'll send you a picture. You won't believe it.
please do. I would love
You know,
to see it. I'd love to see it. Speaking of Wolf, he
Yeah,
just
we're
checked
4,000
what
foot. All you can see is forest. All you can see is forest. Yeah.
4,000 square feet. You said?
Oh yeah. Wolf has joined our Bohas. He's the executive director for North America for the Bohas Music Group.
Yeah.
He's under Bohas Records. We formed a trio that we do together now called the New Country Trio. I can't believe nobody's ever used that name before. Never, right? And so we're doing an album together of all trio stuff. We just did an incredible song that Wolf wrote, well, and Cindy wrote, called "Crowded Shadows," and that's been like on 1,000 radio stations already. It's pretty good stuff.
Really good.
I'd love to hear it. Wolf is tuning in right now. Wolf
it's very-
Milestone. He says, Kathy and Bo love you all from Wolf. Yeah.
We love you too, Wolf.
We love
We love
him.
you too, Wolf and Kathy.
Mhm. Yeah. he
Yeah,
said
we're
that.
looking forward to seeing him. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll be in.
Yeah, Kathy and Wolf, love you all. That's what he said. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Sorry.
We really love that.
Yeah, he said awesome show.
Wolf and I did a duet that we thought we were going to try to duet 7 years ago, and two other guys horned in on it and wanted to be with us, and it became a quadruple. It became a quadraphonic event. So now we did the Highwaymen, a 4-part thing with the Highwaymen, and Wolf and I originally only wanted to do it as a duet, but so about 2 years later, I said, "Hey man, we got to do that duet," and so we did, and we rattled off 8 consecutive #1 on the internet charts with Wolf and I's duets. And then Cindy Lou horned in. She started doing duets with him.
I stole his duet.
Yeah,
partner.
stealer of duets.
They like me better.
No, we like you better. Mom always liked you best.
I know.
Anyway, so they started doing a bunch of. They have a song called Southern California. It's still being played like it for a year now.
Can't get rid of that song.
It's a wonderful song. So they did a bunch together, and I was feeling left out. And I said, "Hey, let's do a trio."
He was whining.
Yeah,
We had to let him back in.
they let me back in.
Yeah.
Never let the Irish in. They'll stay there.
What's one of your favorite songs? I know you've recorded a lot of songs. What's one of your favorite singles that you've recorded? That's a tough question.
Well, as far as a cover song, a fellow named Monroe,
Matt Monroe.
Matt Monroe, who died very early. Frank Sinatra called him the greatest singer of our time. Like the first single he ever cut won the Oscars for the song called "Born Free," about the lions and stuff in Africa. And so Matt Monroe, I just love to hear his voice. And the song I like to him is uh, uh, something no so,
Softly as I Leave You.
softly as I leave you is the title. I can never remember it. I can sing it, but I can't remember the title. And softly as I leave you, and then a song that I did just recently off the new album, and I think you're going to play it shortly. It's about an experience I had on Route 66 with my posse back in the day. About a bar was told, "Oh, it's the greatest bar. Everybody famous, like Johnny Cash, Johnny Paycheck, who's it? Everybody famous played there, right?" And I played with some of those guys. You know, back in the day, I ended up playing. I got to my first album. These guys are old time, right? Charlie Walker, Ray Pillow, Justin Tubbs, Ernie Ashworth, Charlie Lubin. I'm on the album with them called Nashville Stars of Country. And so I go way back a bit. So we're going to go play this band. We get there and it's a total dive. It smelled like pee. There's like 5 people in there with a bottle by the table. There's no band, you know, and this place should have been packed on a Thursday. So we wrote a song called "This Place Ain't All That," and I think you're going to play it later.
Yeah, we're going to take a listen to it now. This Place Ain't All That by Bo Hoss right here. Bring It in the House.
Something grand, the kind of place with a big name and a bigger band. But the lights were dim and the crowd was thin. Just a few locals with a bottle of gin. This place ain't all that, just a neon sign. Ain't no buzz, ain't no line. Bartender slow, music's loud. This place ain't all that. Seat at the bar, ordered us a round, looking for a good time, but it couldn't be found. The jukebox played a song from '92, and the stale smell of smoke hung like perfume. This place ain't all that, just a neon sign. Ain't no buzz, ain't no line. Bartender slow, music's loud. This place ain't all that. Watch the clock tick, but time stood still, chasing dreams of neon lights and a thrill. But the hype was gone, just an empty stage. Now this place was just a faded page. This place ain't all that, just a neon sign. Ain't no buzz, ain't no line. Bartender slow, music's loud. This place ain't all that. Back on the highway with a story to share. About a joy with promise, but nothing was there. Maybe.
Oh, that was really good, guys. Was that you, Cindy Lou, in the back on the background vocals?
That is me.
Yeah, she does all the backups, and occasionally I get to back her up.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Yeah,
very
we
sweet.
found that the backup vocals and the harmonies in songs always take them to another level. It's different. If I'm just singing the song, it sounds one way. As soon as she chimes in, it's 10 times better. So we have that in virtually every song we do.
Guys, this has been so great tuning in. For those who just joined us, of course, we're talking with international country music recording artists Bo Hoss and Cindy Lou. We've had a great time. Before we go, are there any shout outs you want to say? Shout out to anyone or any words of wisdom you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, of course, we did a movie score for Daylight to Dark for director Jake Young. And Roland Jewett wrote it. He also wrote American Vampire from back in the day. He writes a bunch of stuff like that. And so we did a bunch of the music on that. They've asked us to do music on another movie called Soul's Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have some wonderful Charlie Dickey, the new one, of course, out there. We can't forget Tandy Finley Day, another one of our proteges, an amazing person. And there's so many wonderful people out there that have helped us in our career. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're going to give back any way we can, right?
Yes.
Mostly with the love of music, Yeah, that's what it is for us.
Yeah. Well, and that's beautiful. That's a beautiful heart, beautiful spirit. I can't thank you guys enough for, having this conversation with us here, taking time out of your schedules. I love you guys. I'm coming to your next show. You guys got to come to Austin and perform here, okay?
I will. I got people in Austin that still love me.
I know it.
Well, we think they do.
We're pretty sure.
We're pretty
If I give them money, they'll love me even more. Hey, what else was I going to say? I was going to say something pretty cool.
I don't know.
I don't know even. I'm not sure even what I'm doing.
He, I got to tell you, he even talks in his sleep. So I just listen.
I write lyrics in my sleep. That's what those are lyrics.
Most writers do. Do you
If
want
he
to tell us
talks in
real
his sleep, I get to listen. And then
You
I
wanna
get up
tell-
and I write it down real quick.
You write it down real
Right.
quick, yeah.
Yay.
Before you forget. Yeah.
Hey, Millie, later on, shoot us an email or a text or something with your address, and we'll send you some CDs that you can give out to people.
Thank
One's a
you.
real romantic country one called Under the Covers, and the other one's called Mina Bird, and it's a lot of those great George Strait songs, all that stuff. But we'll send you plenty so that you can give them away to your people. We missed the days where you could call in the radio station and say, third caller wins 2 tickets.
I know.
So-
I know. Yeah, those were the great times back then, wasn't it? Oh man, those are great. Hey, you want to tell them real quick what you got coming up next? Where are you guys going to be performing next before we get out of here?
Well, we got to stay right here for now, but we'll be in Branson, Missouri, then Nashville, NPR Radio, and then the ISSA Awards in August, and that'll be between the
The 21st and the 24th.
somewhere,
Yeah.
20th and the 24th, somewhere in there.
And
And it'll be with Wolf. We drag Wolf all over the country with us, the poor guy.
if you're in Washington, we have places to play. So a lot of festivals, a lot of deals coming up. We're just locally. I don't like to travel anymore.
We hide here in Washington so nobody knows us. It's really great. We go other places and they're like, "Oh, Cindy, here I can wear a hat and they don't know who I am." That's great. There's a lot to be said about opportunity.
Yes. Well, thank you
But
guys
thanks so much for having us on the show.
You're welcome.
No,
Thank
the
you.
pleasure and the honor is ours, Billy.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure is mine.
Hey, we'll refer
Thank
people to your show.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. You guys are such a joy. Much continued success. And we'll see you guys back here next week. I believe we'll be talking to Dion Langley. He's a drummer and an advocate for lupus. So stick around on Bring It in the House podcast show.